Young scholars, this is Mr. Hare from My House to Yours, and for this week in science, we're going to talk about shadows, just like last week. And the objective for this video, actually for the activity that's going to follow, is to observe shadows and describe their relationship with a source of light. And to help us do that, we have a read aloud book that's actually kind of on video that I'm going to read aloud. It's called The Day I Met My Shadow. It's written and illustrated by Melissa Brunn. And so, the day I met my shadow. Did you ever meet your shadow? What happened when you met them? What did they do? Probably the same thing you did. Well, let's find out what happens here. And then we'll take a look at some examples of shadows. I even went outside and took pictures for you. Can't wait. Okay, the day I met my shadow. I went outside to play one day and brought along my sidewalk chalk. When I crouched down to start my drawing, I was scared at what I saw. I was alarmed. A dark, suspicious spot lay flat upon the ground, sprawled out right in front of me in a lumpy, odd-shaped mound. Ground, mound. They sound the same. They sound the same. Oh, here we go. I stood up, feeling frightened, but scared. Then I backed up really slow. To my surprise, the spot stood up, too, and then began to grow. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Hold on, YouTube video, stop. They're not going to stop for me. There we go. Let's try that. Grow slow. They sound the same. They sound the same. They sound the same. They rhyme. Okay, let's continue with the story. Each step I took backwards, the bigger the spot grew. My heart started beating faster. I didn't know what to do. I tried to run away from it, and I screamed really loud. Suddenly it disappeared when the sun hid behind the clouds. I have an idea. Do you have the same idea? Let's see. Just when I decided to give up, I noticed something strange. When I threw my hands up in defeat, the spot did exactly the same. We're not doing uppercase right now. This is just defeat. When I went left, he went left. When I went right, so did he. No matter which way I went, he just kept following me. I heard another rhyme, did you? He, me. Oh, wait a minute. He has arms and legs? He has a head just like I do? A spot is a person? A person! How can this be true? True. I think it's right. They sound the same. They sound. Oh, here we go. Hello, are you okay? I asked, and then I tried to help him up. But no matter how much I tugged and pulled, he just remained there, stuck. Just then my sister came out, wondering why I looked confused. Where did she come from? I asked, pointing to the girl stuck to her shoes. Is it really a girl? That's my shadow, silly. Look, you have one too. It happens when an object blocks the light from passing through. Oh, who would have thought? This is my shadow, I said excitedly as I waved my arms around. Then together we made shadow puppets until the sun went down. I used to do that. Okay, so we just looked at an example of how the shadow changes when the light changes. Let's review some of the things that are necessary for shadows. First, how are shadows formed? Well, you have to have a source of light, in this case the sun, or it could be a flashlight, and an object, a solid object, has to block the light passing through, and then it's a shadow of that object, really. You cannot have a shadow without a light source. And the strength of the shadow depends on the strength of the light source. And if we have a light source from a side, it always creates a longer shadow. And light source from above, it's always going to be shorter. And the shadow is always cast opposite the light. Let's take a look at some examples. Here we see a pole, a light pole. And we see the shadow, and this is kind of like a really speeded up version of a video. It happened over the course of several hours, but they made the video speed up real fast. And I think, well, I know that because the shadow is here, let's pause that. Because the shadow is right here, the sun is way off somewhere here it's invisible, we can't see it, but it's off in here. It's not over here. It's somewhere off in here. We just can't see it. But we know because the shadow is there that the sun must be here. So let's see another example of that. Hello, house. Here's a house. It's an object. It's a big old object. It's solid. The sunlight cannot pass through it. So here's what I know. Here's what I know. There's a shadow coming here. We can kind of see the rays line. The sun is behind on the other side of that house. And that's why this shadow is here, because it's on the other side of the house. We just can't see it. Let's see some other example. Oh, look how the thing is moving. Hold on, let's go back. The clothesline thing. There's a name for that machine, that contraption. I know my grandmother had one. But what they use to hang clothes, it's moving around, so the shadow is moving around. It does everything the object does. Just the sunlight can't pass through it. Here's another example. Because this shadow is here, the sun isn't over there. The light is, but the sun is not over there. The sun is back off over here somewhere. It just can't get through probably what is a big old house. Okay. Now, let's take a look at that. So, where would the sun be? They asked that question. Sun is not over here because that's where the shadow is. The sun is somewhere off in here and we just can't see it. That's where the sun would be. You know what? Do you want to see a better example of it? Let's take a look at this. We're going to use a flashlight and a little object of a little rock owl. And we're going to show how the shadow changes when you have light changing where it is, the position is. So let's take a look. Hello, come back. Wait, stop. No. They're trying to go fast. Stop, strange hand. Okay, so the shadow, the source of light is right here. And the little object is blocking the light, so it makes a shadow. So it's kind of longer there, but when the light moves, look how short the shadow got. It's because the light source is above it. See how the shadow got really small? Now it's going to get big again. Why? Because the light source is going to move. Watch. It moves here. The shadow's getting bigger. It's getting longer. And that's how shadows change. Because the light source moves. It's going to move back. And watch how the shadow changes again. Oh, it's getting smaller, smaller, smaller. Then it's going longer, longer, longer. It happens every time. There's no exception. I'll even show you what I did. I went outside. It was a morning. I thought, okay, kids, don't go into the street and do this. But I went to this spot, and it was like 8 something in the morning. It was before 9 o'clock. And I took a photo. There's my shadow, kind of long. The sun, I was not looking into the sun. The sun was behind me. We couldn't see it. See how that arrow is? It says explore. It's pointing to where the sun was. It was behind me. So then about lunchtime, I go back out. It's about almost noon. And I'm in the same place, but look how small my shadow is. You know why? Because the sun was up above me. Then, that evening, it's almost 7 o'clock at night, or it's a little after 7 at night, in the evening. So I go back out, same spot. Where's my shadow? It's not there. There's nothing there, only the asphalt. I was thinking, what happened? What's going on? And then I looked up, and look, there's the sun. It was kind of in front of me. It was on its way to being in front of me. And it made me think, I remember that shadow book that I read. It must mean maybe it's behind me. So I turned around, and what do you think happened? Dun, dun, dun! It's there! I turned around, and my shadow was long, just like it was in the morning, only in a different direction. So the sun was this way. It was behind me, not in front of me. So that's how shadows are related to how we move around, or how the sun moves around, actually. And you know what? I think a good activity would be about checking photos of your shadow at different times in the same place, not in the road. maybe in the yard. You think you could do that? Or maybe we'll draw shadows. I'll think about it. You'll have an activity coming up. As always, you do not need to respond to the video unless you want to. And I hope you enjoyed it. And be good to your shadow. Be healthy. Be here. Adios.